All 18 special and forbidden bending abilities in Avatar explained. Some of these abilities are extremely dangerous, and very few benders in history have ever been able to use them. And some of these bending techniques are so rare that most Avatar fans haven't even heard of them, mainly because they're ancient, forgotten, or straight up old as hell. For example, did you know that Avatar Yangchen was the first and possibly the only sound bender? Or that Avatar Kyoshi used a bending technique even deadlier than bloodbending? Today, we're diving into every special and unique bending ability, including some rare ones that 99% of Avatar fans have never even heard of. So let's start with the most disturbing and fearsome one of all. Bloodbending is the most advanced and disturbing form of waterbending. And yeah, it's disturbing for a reason. It allows a bender to control a person's body by manipulating the blood and fluids inside them. That means their muscles, their movement, and their ability to fight back. The victim is literally turned into a puppet. And honestly, it's super weird, not just for the person being controlled, but even for the waterbender using it. Because of how terrifying and broken this ability is, bloodbending is considered one of the most dangerous bending techniques ever created. That's why it was eventually outlawed after the formation of Republic City. Bloodbending was first discovered by a waterbender named Hama. She used it to escape a Fire Nation prison during a full moon. And yeah, she was that creepy old lady from that episode. No shame if that episode freaked you out as a kid. Due to the insane power and precision required, bloodbending can usually only be performed during a full moon when a waterbender's abilities are at their strongest. Bloodbending without the full moon. In the Legend of Korra, we see a few extremely talented waterbenders who could bloodbend without the aid of the full moon, like Amon, Yakone, and Tarlok. Yakone and Amon took this ability even further. They were able to bloodbend without using their arms at all, a technique known as psychic bloodbending. Yakone's control was so broken that he could bloodbend dozens of people at the same time and knock them unconscious instantly. In fact, if it weren't for the Avatar state, Aang would have lost during their encounter. Bending removal. Later on, Yakone's son Noatak, better known as Amon, pushed bloodbending even further. He developed the ability to permanently remove a person's bending. Even Katara, who's regarded as one of the most skilled healers in the world, was powerless to reverse this technique. The only known way to restore bending taken by Amon is through energy bending, a skill that only the Avatar and the Lion Turtles can master. The next sub-skill of waterbending is healing. Healing allows a bender to repair physical wounds in themselves or others by using water as a catalyst. The healer redirects energy paths throughout the body, focusing energy into injured areas to speed up recovery. The effectiveness of healing doesn't just depend on the healer's skill, it also depends on the quality of the water being used. For example, Katara once used spirit water from the Spirit Oasis in the North Pole to heal Aang after he was fatally wounded by Azula's lightning. However, healing has its limits. It can't cure internal damage, scars, birth defects, or restore bending abilities taken through bloodbending. It's mostly effective on fresh external injuries. Healing can also help ease certain forms of mental damage, like when Katara helped Jet regain his memories after being brainwashed. The greatest healers. When most Avatar fans think of powerful healers, Katara is usually the first name that comes to mind. But in the comics and novels, we learn that Avatar Yangchen was also an extremely skilled healer who treated a wide range of serious injuries during her time. However, in my opinion, the best healer in the entire Avatar universe was a girl named Atuat. Atuat was a doctor from the Northern Water tribe, known for bringing people back from the brink of death using advanced healing techniques. One of her most dangerous skills involved lowering a person's body temperature to slow down the process of death itself. This technique required extreme focus and control, because one mistake could kill the patient instantly. Eventually, Atuat met Avatar Kyoshi and taught her how to heal, including this delicate technique. But Kyoshi being Kyoshi, she ended up using that knowledge for the exact opposite purpose, speeding death up instead. Death. Because of course she did. And that brings us to the next special waterbending technique, heart freezing. As far as we know, this dark ability was only ever used by Avatar Kyoshi. By lowering her target's body temperature, she was able to freeze their heart and internal organs, killing them instantly. She literally took a life-saving healing technique and turned it into a one-way ticket to the spirit world, classic Kyoshi. Moving on to the last sub-skill of waterbending, spirit bending. This rare technique uses healing to convert a spirit's negative energy into positive energy, restoring balance. The waterbender surrounds the spirit with water, and once the spirit begins to glow bright yellow, the process is complete. At that point, the spirit either dissipates or returns to a peaceful form. But like most bending arts, spirit bending has a darker side. It can also be used to corrupt a spirit's positive energy, turning it negative. This twisted version can even be used on a human soul, and if pushed far enough, it has the potential to destroy the soul entirely. In the Legend of Korra, we saw two spirit benders, Korra and Unalaq. However, the technique was originally discovered by a powerful waterbender named Moktik, who lived during the era of Avatar Roku. Before we continue, do me a quick favor. We're grinding hard to reach 100,000 subscribers and earn that silver play button by the end of the year, so if you're enjoying the video, hit that subscribe button. It genuinely helps a lot. Now let's move on to the special sub-skills of earthbending, starting with the most well-known one, metal bending. For a long time, metal bending was believed to be impossible until Toph Beifong discovered it while escaping from a metal cage. She realized that metal contained small traces of earth impurities, which allowed her to bend it. This means metal benders can control most metals as long as those impurities are present. The only exception is platinum, which is so refined that it contains no earth particles at all. At first, Toph's metal bending was limited to close range and required direct contact, but over time, she refined the skill and gained full control over metal just like regular earth. After the 100-Year War, she founded the Beifong Metal Bending Academy to teach others. Later, after Republic City was created, she formed the city's police force, made up of elite metal benders who could manipulate metal without touching it. The sub-skill that led to metal bending's discovery is seismic sense. This ability allows an earthbender to sense vibrations through the ground and create a mental three-dimensional map of their surroundings. Using seismic sense, an earthbender can detect people, objects, and movement with the same accuracy as sight and sometimes even better. Walls, smoke, and dust don't block it, and the vibrations can travel underground, revealing what lies beneath the surface. It can even detect heart rate and breathing, making it possible to tell when someone is lying. Unless that person is Azula. The original earthbenders, the Badger Moles, were the first to use seismic sense, and Toph later learned it from them. However, the first known human to master it was Jianzhu, one of the greatest earthbenders in history. Another known user before Toph was Yun. The third and most destructive earthbending sub-skill is lava bending. This rare ability allows the user to control molten earth. It was originally meant to be an avatar-only skill, since it combines earthbending and firebending. The known avatars who use lava bending include Avatar Seto, Roku, and Kyoshi. Later, this idea was changed, and lava bending became a rare specialized form of earthbending. In the comics, we learned that the first non-avatar lava bender was Sun, a student at the Beifong Metal Bending Academy. In the Legend of Korra, we were introduced to two more lava benders, Bolin and Gazan. Gazan's power was so extreme that he was able to tear down Ba Sing Se's inner wall, something the Fire Nation failed to do for 100 years, and later destroyed the entire northern air temple. Next is sandbending. This technique is mainly used by the tribes of the Siwang Desert, and allows earthbenders to manipulate loose sand instead of solid earth. Unlike other sub-skills, sandbending isn't especially difficult to learn, and it's implied that most earthbenders can do it with enough practice. The final and rarest earthbending sub-skill is glassbending. During a fight with a criminal gang, Avatar Kyoshi was injured by glass shards embedded in her neck. Instead of panicking, she bent the glass and safely removed it herself. This is possible because glass is essentially just sand that's been heated and cooled, making it another extreme but logical extension of earthbending. Which really raises a question: why haven't we seen any other earthbender use glassbending? I couldn't find a clear answer, so if you have any theories, let me know in the comments. Now that we've covered water and earth, let's move on to the special sub-skills of airbending. We'll start with one of the rarest and highest level airbending abilities, flight. This ability was originally exclusive to flying bison and the air lion turtles. However, a highly skilled air nomad named Guru Lagima unlocked flight by freeing himself from all earthly attachments. Flight was believed to be nothing more than legend until Zahir unlocked it thousands of years later. Zahir achieved flight after witnessing the death of Pali, who was both his lover and his final earthly connection. Flight is already insanely rare, but there's an even more unique airbending sub-skill that's only ever been used by one person: soundbending. That person was Avatar Yangchen. In the dawn of Yangchen, it's said that after failing a mission, Yangchen became overwhelmed with anger and went to the beach to scream. That scream was so powerful, it carved channels into the ocean itself. One of her companions nearby permanently lost his hearing, even though he tried to cover his ears. It's unclear why Yangchen never used this ability in combat. It was likely due to the pacifist nature of the air nomads, but realistically, it would have been an instant win in almost any fight. Yangchen could also use another terrifying airbending sub-skill known as suffocation. This technique technique allows the user to remove air from around a target. However, Yangchen stayed true to her pacifist beliefs and only used it to cause dizziness or unconsciousness, always restoring the air at the last second. In The Legend of Korra, Zahir used a much deadlier version of this ability. Instead of removing the air around his target, he pulled it directly from their lungs through the mouth and nostrils, then formed a tight sphere of air around their head to prevent breathing, killing them by suffocation. The final airbending sub-skill is spiritual projection. Highly spiritual airbenders can project their spirit outside their body and travel vast distances almost instantly. This allows them to explore otherwise unreachable places, like moving underwater or passing through solid matter while still communicating with others. Airbenders can also use spiritual projection to locate people they share a strong bond with, such as when Jinora used it to find Kai after he was captured by the Dai Li. Another known user was Monk Yatso, who used the technique to help villages near the Northern Air Temple by sensing spiritual disturbances. Now that we've covered airbending, let's move on to the special sub-skills of firebending, starting with one of the most recognizable abilities, blue fire. Azula was famous for using blue flames. Originally, the creators gave her blue fire to visually separate her attacks from Zuko's, but later it was explained that her fire burned blue because she was a prodigy. Blue fire is significantly hotter than normal orange fire and much harder to control. Avatar Roku even stated that blue fire requires extreme precision. Roku and Sozin were briefly able to use blue fire while inside a spirit cave that temporarily boosted their bending, which really highlights how skilled Azula was since she could use it naturally. An even higher level firebending ability is dragon fire, also known as iridescent fire. In Avatar, The Last Airbender, we saw this rainbow-colored fire used by the dragons when Aang and Zuko learned the true form of firebending. It was believed only dragons could bend this type of fire, but Avatar Roku briefly used it inside the same spirit cave, burning his hands and collapsing the cave due to its intensity. In the comics, Zuko is shown creating a rainbow fire vortex while protecting his family. It's unclear whether this was true iridescent fire or simply an artistic choice, since the technique is supposed to be incredibly difficult and Zuko never uses it again. The next firebending sub-skill is lightning bending. This advanced technique allows the user to generate electricity by separating positive and negative energies within themselves. It's often called cold-blooded fire and is considered the purest form of firebending. In the past, lightning generation was so rare that many believed it was a myth. During Avatar Kyoshi's era, only one known firebender could do it, and in The Last Airbender, only Azula, Iroh, and Fire Lord Ozai were shown using it. By the time of Avatar Korra, the technique became more common, with even factory workers in Republic City using lightning to generate power. Lightning is usually fatal if it hits directly, though its intensity can be controlled. Azula once lightly shocked Sokka without harming him, but when she struck Aang at full power, it nearly killed him, and he only survived thanks to Katara's spirit water. Another deadly firebending sub-skill is combustion bending. This ability allows the user to create massive explosions using their mind by focusing energy through a specialized third eye tattoo. Combustion bending is powerful enough to destroy rock formations and evaporate large bodies of water instantly, but it can also be used with precision, such as burning objects without causing an explosion. Some combustion benders, like Combustion Man and Pali, were born with the ability, while others were created through brutal training programs. One such program, Unanimity, existed during Avatar Yangchen's era and involved extreme methods like repeated near drowning to awaken the power. Many died during the process, but it produced several combustion benders, all of whom were eventually defeated by Yangchen. Despite its power, combustion bending has a fatal weakness. If the third eye is blocked or struck, the attack backfires and can kill the user instantly. The final and most powerful bending ability is energy bending, which allows the user to manipulate another person's life energy itself. Long before bending as we know it existed, the lion turtles used energy bending to grant humans the power to control the elements. Back then, humans didn't inherit bending at birth. It was something temporarily given and taken away. But once the Avatar came into existence, the lion turtles slowly withdrew from the world, and with them, the knowledge of energy bending nearly disappeared. By the end of the 100-Year War, only a single lion turtle remained. It used energy bending one final time to pass the technique on to Aang, making him the first Avatar in generations to learn it. Aang later passed this ability on to Korra, ensuring that energy bending wouldn't be lost forever. So what exactly can energy bending do? At its core, it allows the user to manipulate a person's life energy itself. Energy benders can remove bending, grant bending, and even restore bending that was taken away through blood bending or energy bending. Unlike other bending arts, this technique doesn't control an element. It controls the source of power behind all bending. Energy bending can also be used inward. By manipulating their own internal energy, an avatar can project their spirit outside their body, creating a powerful astral form. Korra demonstrated this ability at the end of Book 2, using pure spiritual energy rather than elemental bending. Another ability tied to energy bending is the manipulation of raw spiritual energy. Korra first used this power to save Jinora after she was captured by spirit vines. She later used the same technique to block and redirect a blast from Kuvira's spirit cannon, proving just how powerful energy bending truly is. It's also important to note that while mastering all 4 elements is required for the avatar, learning energy bending is not. It's an optional ability, one that only a few avatars have ever unlocked, and with that, we've covered every special and unique sub-bending ability in the Avatar universe. If you enjoyed the video and want more Avatar content, make sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button, and if you're into Demon Slayer 2, click on this video to check out 42 secrets you didn't know about Koyoharu Gotuge.